Well, hey there everybody, it's Snackbox coming to you from a beautiful and sunshiny but very chilly day here in a little town just outside of Atlanta called Chicago, Illinois. I believe it's pronounced Illinois. It is super chilly, it is super cold, and I am super amped to be coming to you because right now we are right in the middle of planting season. That's right about now, many of you can't get outside because it's probably a little too cold. Maybe you don't have the gear, maybe you don't have any interest in being outside when it's really cold, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting your summer plans in order, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So we are going to talk about my 5 best tips for planning your trip to Yosemite National Park, and we're gonna have a whole series coming out throughout the next couple of months, so be ready for that. Leave a comment below if there's a park you want me to cover. I've been to almost all of them in the lower 48 at this point, and I'm going to be putting together a whole series helping you plan your trip. So we got a lot to cover, not a lot of time. Let's get to it. So if you're watching this video, chances are really strong that you're already thinking about going to Yosemite National Park at some point in your life. For those of you who know anything about me, you'll know Yosemite is hands down my favorite national park. I've spent over 6 months inside the borders of the park doing different hikes, doing car camping, you name it, climbed Half Dome one year. There's a lot of really great stuff to do in the park, and the best part about it, and the reason we're starting with it, is Yosemite is the perfect park for a family with a lot of diverse ability levels. So this is a really great park for anybody. You have really great accessibility for people who are maybe not the intense hikers, and we also have some free wall big climbs for those folks who are out there looking for their free solo adventure of a lifetime. So there are a lot of different options for you. We're going to talk about some of my favorite tips for planning your best trip. Let's get started. So my first tip is for those of you who have never been to the park. I'm getting cold already, aren't I? So there are 4 different entrances that you can go into Yosemite National Park. They're all great options. However, if it's your first visit, you need to go in the south entrance through Wawona. This is really important because if you take any other entrance, it's going to take you to the park, which is amazing and beautiful, of course. But if you take that entrance in through Wawona, it is going to bring you in through what's called tunnel view. And tunnel view is a tunnel. You'll wind your way through the mountains, zigzag, zigzag. It'll just feel like you're driving through the mountains. And then pretty soon you'll go into a tunnel. And as you exit the tunnel, it is perfectly positioned to frame Half Dome. So your first view will be this incredible sight of Half Dome, the most iconic rock formation in the entire national park system, I would say. I don't know, but it is incredible and it is really stunning for your first time into the park. So even if it takes you a couple extra hours to head south through Wawona, go through that entrance. I believe it's State Highway 41. It's really well worth your extra couple of hours because it is just such a stunning, breathtaking entrance to what I consider one of the most special national parks in the entire system. My next tip for you is really important for everybody to be considering, and here it is. Consider the time that you go visit. So many of you may have a little bit of flexibility in when you can go visit, especially if you don't have children. There's a real sweet spot somewhere in late May where Highway 120, the Tioga Pass that goes through what's called Tuolumne Meadows, they will have the snow cleared and it will finally open, but all the schools will still be in session. So you'll have this really great opportunity to see the whole national park without big crowds. This is also really important for the environment, the ecosystem there, that we sort of space out our visits. That way we can minimize the impact on the parks. Plan your visit for late May, go visit there. And remember, if you're looking to book those campsites, now's the time to be paying attention to those because they typically will release the campsites on the 15th of the month at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And you need to be right at your computer ready to go if you want to camp inside the park. Don't be discouraged if you don't get a campsite inside the park. There are lots of great campsites just outside the park. So if you don't get one from Yosemite, go look on recreation.gov and you're going to be able to find some good campsites within driving distance of the park and still be able to go in and out really easily. You can even take the bus system from outside the park into the park. It's a really great option to go. So don't be discouraged if you don't get inside the park. In fact, many of the best campsites are outside the parks. Inside the park, you often have really crowded campsites with all of them completely full. Outside the park, you run a much better chance of getting a bigger campsite, a little more space for your family, and it's going to cost about the same as well. Speaking of thinking inside and outside the park, if you're planning to go on a big adventure, something like the John Muir Trail, and you have trouble getting park permits for the John Muir Trail going through the lottery, or maybe you have a certain area of the park you want to visit inside Yosemite National Park, what I recommend is starting your hike outside of the park. The reason for this is that there's often a lot less pressure on those trails going outside the park, and then you can enter the park, visit many of the same places, and then head out. Basically, the idea here is that you get your permit from where your hike starts, not where it finishes. So if you're having trouble getting a really great permit inside Yosemite National Park, the National Forest border on all 360 degrees of the border, so you can get a park permit from the Eastern Sierra National Agency, something. I'll put the name of it below. You can get a hike started outside, go inside Yosemite, check it out, get some really beautiful views inside. That's a really viable option for many of you as well, especially if you're finding this video maybe March or April when all those permits are starting to get scooped up and full. So my number 4th tip
fourth tip.
So my number 4th tip, this one is really important for those of you with a lot of different skills and ability levels in your group. And what you need to know here is that there are 2 areas of the park that are relatively flat, and then the rest of the park is some variation of climbing to one of those areas or climbing down into those. Those 2 areas are the valley, which you'll see on the map. It's really easy to tell because there's a loop through it, and then the Tuolumne Meadows area. Both of these are pretty flat areas. In fact, the first 6 miles from Tuolumne Meadows to Glen Aulin, it only gains about 100 feet of elevation over those 6 miles. It's very, very flat. These are great spots for those of you if you decide to go out, say with your older parents and they can't hike quite as well as you can. It's really great because you can do a couple of good miles. It's also great for children. A lot of good places to go within those areas. So especially Tuolumne Meadows later in the season when it opens after the snowpack. If you're looking for a more extreme hike, you can also take some of the hikes basically anywhere outside of the valley, climbing down into the valley, or if you start in the valley and go outside of it, you have about a 3,000 to 4,000 foot climb right off the bat. It will be Switchback City. You will be so exhausted and happy, you just won't even believe it. Just know that those are really good anchoring points for those of you who have people who can't necessarily hike the same kind of distances. Maybe you're able to if you're the one planning a trip to Yosemite. Take a look at that topographical map. If you don't know how to read a topographical map, my tongue is getting frozen. If you don't know how to read a topographical map, then let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll put together a video for you so you can kind of see how to do that. The key here is that the more spaced out the lines are, the flatter the area, and there are a couple of different areas in Yosemite with those spacings being really, really wide, and a couple with them all on top of each other. And then finally, my last tip for those of you planning your trip to Yosemite National Park, I am so excited for you. For those of you who are new to Yosemite National Park, there is a little bit of a tradition inside the park for those people who've done big adventures, and I'm going to send you outside of the park. I'm going to send you out to the intersection of US Highway 395 and State Highway 120. That is on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevadas. It is beautiful. Over there, you will find a mobile gas station, and inside that gas station is a cafe known as the Whoa Nelly Deli. This one has the most incredible food of any gas station in America. I've seen it in a number of different travel shows and travel magazines. I've seen it mentioned in Backpacker Magazine, a number of others. Go get yourself some food, and if you are a pescatarian, get yourself the fish tacos. You won't be disappointed. It's a perfect way to wrap up a great trip like that. And let me hit you with one of them bonus tips. Everybody likes a bonus tip in 2022. We've had a rough enough last 2 years. Let's have a great one here with a bonus tip. If you like the sound of Yosemite National Park, but the crowds don't really appeal to you, that's okay. Yosemite National Park is one of the 3 most frequently visited national parks in the system. If you don't like the sound of the crowds, but you want to go out and have a great adventure, check out Kings Canyon National Park. About 3 hours to the south of Yosemite National Park. It has all the beautiful granite formations that you want. Great hikes. It is really only a park for people who are ready to go out and really adventure, because you have to start almost every hike with a straight up climb outside of what's called Road's End. Kings Canyon National Park is a great alternative for those of you who want all of the glory and splendor of the Sierra Nevadas, but you want to miss the crowds. Even better, pair it up. Do a week in Yosemite and do a week down in Kings Canyon. You won't be disappointed. So I think that covers it, everybody. I appreciate you sticking with me here as my tongue freezes. If you're watching this, be sure to send me a message on Instagram at Backcountry Champion, and I will send you one of these outside comfort zone stickers in the mail. You don't even have to follow me. It's just my way of saying thanks for checking out the video here. Send me a message, say, hey, snack box, hit me up with one of those stickers. Tell me where to send it, and I will get it in the mail just as soon as possible. And then again, in the comments below, if there's a national park you're thinking of taking a trip to, let me know in the comments below so that I can start working on a planning guide for you. Super excited about 2022. I think it's going to bring us great things. Be safe out there. Take care of each other, and I will see you all soon. Take care, everybody. The snack box out. Do you know what the drummer named his 2 daughters? Anna 1, Anna 2. Sorry.